25 years. 25 years. On August 16th of 2026, I will have been in the financial industry for 25 years. Whew. Feel like people commit murder and get out of prison in a shorter period of time than that. All kidding aside, although it is hard to kind of get my brain around, maybe it's hard for you to get your brain around too, that I have been doing this for 25 years. I mean, how is that possible? Did I start when I was 5 years old? Of course, the answer is no. I started when I was 22 years old. My first job out of college was doing this. So here we are. Now, not going to rehash the last 25 years or spend a lot of time talking about the different things that I've learned, although it's been an immense amount of learning, obviously. Hopefully, right? If you do anything for 25 years, hopefully you're going to have some new learning in there somewhere. That being said, I think that there were probably large blocks of time where I didn't necessarily learn a lot, and then other blocks of time when I learned an immense amount. So, I wanted to talk about something I'm pretty excited about as of late, and I think that I'll be focused on moving forward. That's what I wanted to talk about today. So, but 25 years certainly does sound kind of strange to say out loud. When I started, I was a young guy just trying to figure stuff out, trying to build a career and make some money, trying to become somebody. And over that 25-year period, I've certainly had the pleasure of and privilege of talking with thousands of people about one of the most important and complicated things in their lives, which is, of course, money. I've had the opportunity to watch people become wildly financially successful, to build fortunes. I've watched people certainly lose money. I've watched people get out of debt. I've watched people just stay stuck in debt. I've watched people retire successfully and watch people earn crazy sums of money and still struggle financially. So I know that it's all possible. We human beings are a dynamic bunch capable of just about anything. And really, over the course of the past 10 years, I've spent an enormous amount of time thinking about and writing and talking about money. And again, I don't want to spend too much time looking backwards. I'm certainly grateful for all the experiences that I've had. I'm proud of the work that I've done. But I'm more interested in moving forward and looking forward and charting that way forward and thinking about the next 25 years. And I think that there's two words that are the whole purpose of today, which are build and wealth. Build wealth. And then to build on that, I want to make an invitation for you to become a wealth builder. And maybe that's something that you already consider yourself. Maybe it's something that you identify with. But what do you call yourself? What does one call themselves? And I'm a person who's always resisted category. I don't like to be categorized. And there's certainly plenty of things that are worth being proud of and thinking deeply about and to consider them to be an identity. And certainly there's a lot of things that are not. For example, I take out the garbage on a weekly basis, but I'm not a garbage man. No offense to garbage men or garbage women out there. I do dishes on a daily basis, but I'm not a dishwasher. Again, no offense if that's you. I drive a car, but I don't really consider myself to be a driver necessarily. Those are just things that I do. They are not who I am. But then there's some things that are different because I have children and I am a father. I have a wife and I am a husband. I exercise, I train, and I compete, and I am an athlete. Those words mean something to me. They are part of my identity, and identities are powerful because they carry with them expectations. If I say that I'm a father, there's a reputation attached to that. If I say I'm a husband, there's a standard that is attached to that. If I say I'm an athlete, I can't spend every day sitting on the couch eating garbage and expecting that identity to mean anything. The identity that creates a reputation that I get to and I have to live up to, which got me thinking about my work and money. What do we call ourselves? What do we identify with? If you're somebody that's carrying credit card debt, do you consider yourself a debtor? If you have a budget, are you a budgeter? If you own a savings account, are you a saver? If you've got an investment account, are you an investor? Maybe, maybe not. But what feels good to you? What identity do you happily own and carry? What identity is representative of the human being, the person that you are trying to become? Is it any of those? I think that once you find it, you got to lean into it. You have to really embrace it. You have to take it like you mean it. You have to give yourself a great reputation to live up to. I remember reading How to Win Friends and Influence People probably around this time that I started my career, which is interesting. And if you've never read that book, you ought to. It is, I mean, that and Think and Grow Rich are probably the two seminal books that so much of the self-help personal development world and thinking are built on. Anyway, Dale Carnegie, the author, he talked about giving somebody a great reputation to live up to. So if you want somebody to, if you see something in somebody that they maybe don't see yet in themselves, you can give them a little bit of a nudge. Say, hey, Steve, really think that you're capable of being a leader in this organization. And I see opportunities for you to do that. And I want you to embrace those opportunities. I'd love for you to take on this new responsibility. So what you've done is you've given Steve a great reputation to live up to. Maybe he never saw himself as a leader before. But you, as somebody who is perhaps senior in the organization, somebody he looks up to, if you put your arm around him, say, hey, Steve, I see something in you that you maybe don't see in yourself, then Steve can, you've given him that great reputation to live up to. And I like how that maps onto everything. And it's something that we can do for ourselves. So if you want to become an investor, if you want to become a saver, you can do those things. You can give yourself that great reputation, even regardless of where you're at financially. And what I advocate for is that if you don't currently see yourself as a wealth builder, that you start to see yourself as a wealth builder. So you don't have to be wealthy, and that's a critically important part of that because you do not become a wealth builder once you've accumulated enough money because there's not a net worth requirement. I'm not going to run a know your clients report on you and verify bank records. There's not a net worth requirement. There's nothing like that going on. You don't have to have a certain amount of income or assets under management. I think it's simply you make the decision that that's who you are and who you're going to become. Because when you become a wealth builder, you are deciding, you are making the decision that this is the kind of person that I am going to become. And the trick is then you start behaving like one. You don't become an athlete after you win the race. You train because you're becoming an athlete. You don't become a good parent after your kids turn 18. You behave or you try and behave and be a good parent today. Same thing here. You don't become a wealth builder once you're wealthy. You begin building wealth when you decide to become a wealth builder. And that's really the starting point. I think it's interesting that there's this relationship between doing and becoming. And I think it's really interesting because doing and becoming, they reinforce one another. Think about it. You decide, I'm becoming a wealth builder. The identity then influences your behavior. You save some money, you pay down debt, you increase your 401k contribution, you learn more about investing, you improve your career, you build your emergency fund, you stop buying things you don't really want with money that you don't really have. Those actions all reinforce that identity. And now you start thinking, this is what I do. So you do more of it. And little by little, you become the person you've decided to become. Do, become. Do, become. And eventually, each one of those asset or actions start to produce results. Your debt gets a little smaller. Your savings get a little larger. Your investments start to compound. Your income grows. your financial anxiety goes down, your options in life all increase. And one day you look around and you realize, I've built something. And that's how I believe ordinary people, just like you and me, become financially successful. Not through one giant action or decision, through thousands of beneficial actions taken while becoming the person who's capable of creating the life that you want. So, what are some of these principles? Because I'm a fan of principles, frameworks. After 25 years, I've developed some convictions around how all of this works. These aren't investment strategies. I'm not making predictions about markets, nothing like that at all. That's not really things that I'm super interested in. I'm also not interested in any kind of hacks. And I know that strategies change, and oftentimes they must change as markets change, and financial products and instruments change, and tax laws are always changing, and technology is always changing. But human nature doesn't change nearly as much as those other things do. So I've been working on a small collection of ideas that I'm calling wealth builder principles. And these are principles that I really believe that are true, they're timeless, they're useful, they're worth living by. So here goes nothing. Here they are. Let's go. Let's get started. Principle one, become a wealth builder. That identity, it needs to come first because you decide who you're becoming. You give yourself that great reputation to live up to. You do not wait for results to begin adopting that identity. You start behaving like the person that you want to become today. So ask yourself, what would a wealth builder do? Then do that again and again. You become through the doing. You become by doing, and who you're becoming changes what you do. What an interesting relationship that is. Principle two, builders build. Builders don't simply spend their time waiting for things to change. They don't sit around complaining about what exists. They ask, what can I do? What can I improve? What can I create? What can I fix? What can I build? Financial life not working? Build a better one. Career not going where you want? Build skills, build relationships, build opportunities. Family situation? Well, if that's important to you, build a relationship. Your community is important to you, contribute to it. Something important doesn't exist, maybe you're the one who's supposed to build it. Agency matters. Personal agency matters. Builders build. Principle three, the future deserves and demands preference because wealth building requires sacrifice and investment, not endless sacrifice, not misery, but you can't consume everything today and simultaneously build tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. Tomorrow needs a claim on today's resources, and some of today's money belongs to your future self. Some of today's time belongs to your future health. Some of today's attention belongs to your children. Some of today's energy belongs to the career or the business that you are building. You've got to preference the future because tomorrow isn't something that simply happens. Tomorrow is built today. Principle four, everything compounds. I think we all understand compound interest. It's a good thing, but far fewer people appreciate that almost everything compounds. Money, skills compound, relationships, knowledge, reputation, habits, and unfortunately, bad decisions compound as well. Which means the wealth builder shouldn't only ask, what happens if I do this today? Ask, what happens if I keep doing this? I think that's a much better question because small beneficial actions can look really insignificant in the moment, but give them enough time and they really become extraordinary. Principle five, ownership creates freedom. Own your life, own your decisions, own your mistakes, own your responsibilities, own your financial future, own your assets. The more responsibility you're willing and able to assume, the greater your ability to influence the direction of your life. And that's a really powerful thing. It does mean everything has to be your fault, but it does mean your response belongs to you. And that's extremely, incredibly empowering because if I'm responsible for what happens next, I can do something, I can build. Principle six, capability is wealth. This is really important. We think about wealth as money, but one of your greatest assets is your ability to create value, your knowledge, your health, your relationships, your reputation, your skills, your judgment, your character, your courage, your ability to solve problems, your ability to communicate, your ability to lead, to earn, to contribute. These things matter enormously. So don't merely invest in your portfolio, invest in the person who's building that portfolio. Become increasingly capable. Become a capable human being because a capable human being can lose money and rebuild. They can lose a job and still find opportunity. You can encounter a problem and solve it. Capability is a precursor and creates resilience, and resilience is without question a form of wealth. Principle 7, contribution gives wealth meaning. Eventually, we all have to answer, what's all this for? More? Another dollar? Another investment? Another property, another zero on that statement? To what end? All of that to what end? I don't think accumulation is enough, and I don't think you do either. We build wealth so we can build what matters. So you can take care of your family. You can create opportunities. You can start businesses. You can employ people. You can support organizations and strengthen communities. You can help someone. You can teach your kids. You can mentor somebody. You can build institutions. You can plant trees that you'll never sit beneath. Wealth creates capacity. A capacity that creates the opportunity for contribution, and that's where wealth finds its meaning. Build wealth. So, to 25 years, I think that's where I've landed. Still an advisor. I'm still fascinated by money and how people interact with it. I know that investing matters. I know that financial planning matters. I still think you should get out of credit card debt, have an emergency fund, save consistently, invest intelligently, and protect the people that you love. Those things still matter immensely. But I think that all those things fit inside something larger. Building yourself, your finances, your family, your career, your business, your community, your future, building wealth. And then use that wealth to build what matters. That's what I want the next 25 years of my work to be about, helping ordinary people become wealth builders. So I'm inviting you. You don't need to apply or qualify. You don't need a certain level of income or anything like that. You don't have to already be wealthy. You simply need to decide, I'm going to become a wealth builder. And then you start. Give yourself a great reputation to live up to. And when you face a financial decision, ask, what would a wealth builder do? When you don't know what to do next, ask, what can I build? When today's desires collide with tomorrow's priorities, remember, the future deserves preference. When today's actions feel small and they feel too small to even matter, remember, everything compounds. When you feel powerless, remember, ownership creates freedom. When you're deciding where to invest, don't forget that capability is wealth. And when you've accumulated enough to ask what all of this is for, remember, contribution gives wealth meaning. That's the work. Doing and becoming. Building and contributing. Today and tomorrow, one beneficial action after another. For as long as we're fortunate to be here. 25 years ago, I signed up for and I started helping people with their money. For the next 25, I want to help people become wealth builders. Build wealth. Become a wealth builder. Build wealth so you can build what matters in your life, for your family, and your community. And never forget that builders build. It's what they do. Builders build. It's interesting and a lot to look at different milestones of life, to reflect back, to look at where you are right now, to look at where you want to be in the future. And I think that the space that I'm interested in occupying is what I just laid out. I hope it resonates. If you are someone who wants to get on the path, you could feel like you can benefit from somebody walking alongside of you to join you in that walk through life and into your financial, whatever vision of financial success is for you, to find that and to walk with you. I've got an entire network along with the work that I do as an advisor, I also train financial advisors. I mentor financial advisors. I can coach financial advisors. I have a whole program called the Meaningful Advisor, and it's all based on what I've been talking about, what I talk about all the time, which is understanding what really matters, what must be done in service of what matters, and then actually doing those things and executing on a daily basis, knowing that everything compounds. So if you would like to have a conversation with an advisor, financial advisor who agrees with and follows that framework, one of our meaningful advisors, you can reach out to me directly. Easy to get a hold of. You can find me on social media and LinkedIn, or you can click on the little link in the notes, and that will bring you to the place where you need to go. And yeah, here's to another 25, or however many it is, another 50, another 75. And finally, the friendly reminder to always leave you with that there's never going to be anybody more interested in your financial success than you are. So you have to act accordingly.